This is the Troll Patrol. Live. With Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol. Live. That quite possibly nobody will watch. No, there's probably going to be a couple people here. We are not on Twitch tonight, standing in solidarity with the protest against the hate raids. Remember, my position on that is that I want your hate raids. Please bring them to me. If you want to hate raid anybody on Twitch, twitch.tv/Justin Freakin. That's the channel you bring them to. I'm also not back on Facebook yet, so... That's later this week, though. They're going to let me loose. I'm going to try to be a good boy. Welcome back to people on Trovo, whatever the fuck Trovo is. I didn't know my login credentials had expired. I set that back up last night. All 6 of you, I believe, was my subscriber count on Trovo. All 6 of you, welcome back. I'm sorry that we had not been broadcasting on Trovo, but I was able to fix it up just for tonight. Or we are not on Twitch, where the majority of my views and comments and shit come from. If you're on Trovo, please give us a hey. Weed! What's up, RB? Don't mind if I do. First of all, we got so much to talk about tonight. First off, like fucking Joe Rogan has the COVID. Now, he says he took some ivermectin, I guess. We're going to watch the video here in a little bit because, of course, we are. I hope he took the human version of ivermectin, the correct dosage, if he was going to take it at all. Good evening, RB. We're going to talk about the Taliban, how they were able to capture quite a bit of equipment, but it doesn't work, apparently. They helped evacuate American citizens, it seems. One of the reports coming out of Afghanistan. Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, ripped Kevin McCarthy. See me hiding on YouTube. I don't know how you can hide on YouTube. You're not on Twitch this evening, though. Welcome, John. Glad to have you. Oh, that interview where Sidney Powell walks out. We totally have that. That was from a special on this thing called Four Corners. Apparently, I'd watched several of their videos. I didn't even know what it was. An Australian broadcasting company production. Sidney Powell walked out of the interview. The cops that killed Elijah McClain have been charged. Oh shit! It's Warlord. Gave it away. So I didn't figure anybody in like my circle would be broadcasting, but apparently a couple of them are because they don't particularly like that side of left Twitch and don't consider themselves a part of left Twitch. I just don't cross the picket line. I support collective action. And as I said, I don't even agree with the premise of why they're going dark on Twitch today. I want your hate raids. And furthermore, don't hate raid the people that are, the people that are protesting and going black on Twitch. Hate raid me. I want your hate raids. That's my position on this. Hate raid me all day long. keep the fucking neo-Nazis away from the good people of Twitch. Send them on over to my side. I'll deal with them. We'll have fun with them. But they'll get annoyed with me, as they always do. I had a guy commenting on the YouTube saying he wanted an argument. I'm like, I do a show you can call into, Discord into. Like, I just happen to be getting ready to go on. Dude was still arguing with me. Fuck about the Joe Biden thing. Like, he keeps going on about the military-industrial complex. The military-industrial complex clearly didn't want Biden to pull out of Afghanistan or pissed at him, right? So, you support Biden by your logic? I don't know. I don't get the right-wingers. The variant we talked about, the COVID, it has a name now. I get Mu? I don't think it's Moo. I think it's Mu. I'm not up on my Greek alphabet. Oh, you know it's back to school time because we had another school shooting. The uniquely American pastime. Oh, Rand Paul. Rand Paul is gloating over being wrong yet again. Because he's an idiot. We're going to come back to you in just a little bit, Joe. Let's start off tonight with the Texas abortion ban. Effectively. Supreme Court allows extreme Texas abortion ban to go. And by the way, if you're listening to the podcast, I was reacting to a comment, not laughing about the abortion ban going into effect. That is not cool. I am not down with that. The Supreme Court allows extreme Texas abortion ban to go into effect. SB 8 offers private citizens a $10,000 bounty if they successfully sue anyone aiding or abetting abortion-seeking patients in Texas. The U.S. Supreme Court on Wednesday allowed a restrictive Texas law to go into effect that criminalizes abortion at 6 weeks and deputizes citizens to enforce the ban. SB 8 effectively bans abortion at 6 weeks, a time at which many people don't yet realize they're pregnant. The bill is more extreme than laws in states such as Alabama and Ohio due to a clause that financially incentivizes private citizens to sue anyone aiding or abetting abortion-seeking patients in Texas. Because they went the civil route, that's how they have been able to evade the federal courts. The Supreme Court decided not to weigh in on it. Now, it would be a shame if everyone was to go to prolifewhistleblower.com or Google Texas Right to Life and go to this here little website, the Help Enforce the Texas Heartbeat Act, where you can totally send an anonymous tip. I wouldn't encourage you to do it from different browsers. I wouldn't encourage you to do it from different IP addresses if you have a VPN and you can bounce it off of different servers. I would never encourage anyone to do such a thing. But people with ill intent might get a hold of prolifewhistleblower.com, where they might Google Texas Right to Life and find this form, Help Enforce the Texas Heartbeat Act. One might send an anonymous tip. How do you think the law has been violated? I should start it off as if I'm serious, right? And then this is gonna take. I want to put some thought into this. I can't just do this. I know it's called the Troll Patrol. That's what this show is made for. But it sure would be a shame if people were to go to prolifewhistleblower.com to help enforce the Texas Heartbeat Act. SB 8 effectively bans abortion at 6 weeks, a time at which many people don't yet realize they're pregnant. Someone successfully sues a person aiding and abetting the medical procedure, they could receive a bounty of $10,000 and have all of their legal fees paid for by the opposing side. The anti-choice movement is determined to decimate reproductive freedom and intimidate providers, pregnant people, and those who love and care for them, said Adrian Kimmel, the acting president of the NARAL, Pro-Choice America. Make no mistake, they continue, this law paves the way for anti-choice extremists to turn their dystopian vision into a horrifying reality, not just in Texas, but around the country. President Joe Biden blasted the Texas state legislature for blatantly violating the constitutional right established under Roe v. Wade. Biden said the Texas law will significantly impair women's access to the health care they need, particularly for communities of color and individuals with low incomes. And outrageously, it deputizes private citizens to bring lawsuits against anyone who they believe has helped another person get an abortion, which might even include family members, healthcare workers, front desk staff at a healthcare clinic, or strangers with no connection to an individual. Exactly right. It makes it impossible for a poor person to get an abortion. Let's get a short history lesson here. This video didn't quite go into everything I wish it had went into, like the congressional hearings before. Like, it picks up with Roe v. Wade, and I found like okay, like I want to get into this, but like, before Roe v. Wade, we had congressional hearings. There was this chemical that came over from the UK, because the UK just poisons everything all over the world. Sorry. Looking at you, warlord. There was this chemical that was causing birth defects, and there was these moms giving this heart-wrenching testimony about the birth defects that their kids were born with, and that it was completely preventable. Like, they could have had an abortion. Like, the kids were dying a couple of years afterwards anyway. Like, they were being born like really deformed and then passing away. It's a really sad thing. But this picks up with like Roe v. Wade.
Republican states are hostile to abortion, while
ain't that the truth?
Are pro-choice. But
this is The Economist.
Polarization is a peculiarly American phenomenon. In the rest of the world, abortion is legal on request or under a broad range of circumstances in 80 countries. In most of these countries, legalization has settled the debate, not stoked it. Take Britain. Abortion was legalized here in 1967, around the same time as America.
Britain legalised abortion through a parliamentary act. So there was a long debate between MPs about
high enough for this shit.
Details of this. And that has largely settled it as a political issue in the country.
Ireland, a religious country like America, only recently voted to legalise abortion. Here too, the debate has dropped off the political agenda.
There does seem to be a correlation between
majority voting in favour
religion and oppressive laws now, doesn't there?
2/3 of people supported it. That gave real legitimacy to the law that followed.
So why didn't that happen in America? The answer partly lies in the way abortion was legalised in the Supreme Court.
We'll hear arguments number 18, Roe against Wade.
In the 1973 court case, Roe v. Wade, commonly known as Roe, 9 judges ruled 7-2 that abortion is a constitutional right.
In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court today legalized abortions.
The fact that it was a court decision rather than legislation means that you don't have democratic legitimacy. This wasn't a decision that people had sort of really come to.
It's not an angle I had thought about before.
You don't get the details that you would in legislation. And so it means that America's laws on abortion are actually some of the most permissive in the world. You can have abortions far later into pregnancy than you can in most other countries. That has really fueled the debate.
Since that landmark case, public opinion has remained remarkably constant, with the majority saying abortion should be legal in certain cases.
I don't know how it's been that low
Politically, it is
recently.
polarized, with both parties moving to the extremes. But it wasn't always this way.
In the 70s, you could find
Jimmy Carter with some fucking crazy look
people
there.
in both parties, and in fact, during the 1976 election, both presidential candidates tried very hard to distance themselves from any strong stand on abortion.
If anything, Republicans were more pro-choice than Democrats. The main opponents to abortion immediately after Roe were Catholics, who tended to be Democrat.
That's when the Republicans realized they could fucking pick up the evangelical vote. The fringe part of the Republican Party that had been in power during the Nixon administration, the fucking Buchanan, fucking racist ass motherfucker white nationalist assholes, they came to prominence within the Republican Party during the 80s, and they decided to use abortion as a wedge issue. Now, Fox was roasting Dan Rather. Dan Rather had a tweet about the abortion law in Texas, comparing the Texas laws to the Taliban. Fox News ran a piece on it earlier today. Ex-CBS anchor Dan Rather crushed for tweet comparing pro-lifers to Taliban. Rather's tweet, which by the way has 113k loves to like 5k comments. He did not get ratioed on this. Not crushed at all, it looks like. And Rather says it's worth noting that many of the same people attacking the Biden administration for leaving women's rights behind in Afghanistan are eager to control women's bodies and choices in the United States. A very valid point, Dan Rather. Fox says critics took to social media because I guess this is just what news is now. The dude came to my fucking YouTube page, clearly spouting Fox News talking points, talking about propagandists. Critics took to social media to blast the That's what we do on Twitch. Talk about what fucking people responded on Twitter, goddammit. Critics took to social media to blast the liberal former anchor, and some focusing their criticism on the debate over abortion itself. One critic identified themselves as pro-choice, but said that Rather's tweet intentionally mischaracterized the pro-life argument. How? And I'm doubting it. Article 5 Convention of States, please, is pro-choice. I fucking doubt it. I'm pro-choice, but most pro-choice people intentionally mischaracterize the pro-life argument. Dan here is one of those people. How? Please tell me how. Please follow up. Please tell me there is an explanation of how. How is that a mischaracterization? There's only like 19 comments back to this dude. This dude is a nobody. It got 7 retweets. But apparently Dan Rather got crushed on Twitter. There's no follow-up into... Like, nothing. What? What's the mischaracter? I would love to know what the mischaracterization is, because I think that's what the right does. I think that's what the pro-life people do, is mischaracterize it. Because my argument is it's none of their fucking business. It's none of their fucking business. It's a healthcare decision. So I don't know how I am mischaracterizing a pro-life argument. I don't know. What? Absolute bullshit. Article 5 Convention of the States, please. Oh, he's a Twitcher. Ooh, he's on right now. But he's not. It says it's his schedule. Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Oh, it's Wednesday. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I thought it said Monday through Friday. He takes Wednesdays off. God damn it. All your firearms needs.
It's not like smallpox, you know, or you know, something with like 50% or 40% or 30% mortality rate. You're still talking about something that's like 98% or whatever, something really, really high. But you know,
and that's discounting the long-term effects. That's discounting the.
It's a standard. They're kind of always pissed.
Time people have to quarantine. Like you're not taking anything into consideration.
Especially if you don't have comorbidities.
You're looking at it that way, and most people have comorbidities.
Overweight. I go to the gym frequently, although I
go to the gym frequently.
An injury. But someone like me, you know, chances are nothing.
How does it, like?
The only thing that I was concerned.
I don't think it's coincidence that this motherfucker gets spotlighted on Fox News. Like, there's right-wing money. Like the dude that called in the other day, and I don't think he realized what I was asking him, and like he just admitted that like he was getting this phantom funding for this, you know, predominantly right-wing content. Where does this money just get dropped in from? These people are being astroturfed. But I mean, like, Dan Rather's point is comparing, you know, the same point I made, comparing the right and their positioning to the way the Taliban acts, which... Are you going to tell me that if right-wingers could, they wouldn't want to do this to the media here in this country? This video went viral of the Taliban having all their arms behind this reporter.
به نام خدا با عرض سلام و درود بر شما بیننده های شبکه جهانی افغانستان.
He does indeed look scared.
باز هم شما را خوش آمدید میگویم. میربایس حیدری حق دوست هستم شما را
We don't have fucking subtitles, unfortunately.
حالا که نظام اشرف غنی سقوط کرده و آقای غنیم از افغانستان فرار کرده و در افغانستان عده‌ای که منتقد اشرف غنی هستند میگویند
I would love to know what he is saying right now. It looks like he's reading a statement.
رفتن و حالا امارت اسلامی برگشته و امارت اسلامی را مجاهدینش هم تلاش میکنند که در افغانستان باید
Let's get the rundown here from the Vice article. An Afghan TV presenter in a suit and tie interviews a Taliban commander live on camera, all while being surrounded by armed militants holding automatic weapons. He reads out a statement from the group, which wants the public to cooperate and not be afraid. Because this is a great way to show the public that you should not be afraid. But I mean, the right wing would love this shit, because they love the open carry thing. They love taking their guns out everywhere. A banner in the background ironically reads Afghanistan Peace Studio, a reference to the name of the show. The presenter has interviewed at least 3 Taliban leaders on a channel called Afghanistan TV since the fighters seized power, but this appears to be the first time a Taliban commander appeared on camera with a gun-toting entourage, offering a glimpse into Afghanistan's surreal, disturbing, and often confusing new reality under their rule. The presenter appears relaxed even when he turns around to ask the armed militants questions. The 10-minute segment isn't available on Afghanistan TV's YouTube channel, which has been around for 3 years and features the latest Taliban interviews along with older music and entertainment videos. That sounds like fun. I kind of want to go watch older music and entertainment videos. What's up, Tones? We're We're seeing the Taliban surround this dude on Afghanistan TV.
شما بیننده‌های شبکه جهانی افغانستان با ویژه برنامه پرداز باز هم شما را خوش آمدید میگویم. میربایس حیدری حق دوست هستم شما را دعوت میکنم تا پایان این
But you can't tell me that the maggots wouldn't want to do this shit. If they could go to MSNBC and hold Rachel Maddow at gunpoint, they certainly would. I shouldn't give them ideas. Fuck. I mean, it was mostly peaceful, though. Footage went viral on social media where it was seen as yet another ominous harbinger of the fundamentalist group has in store for the newly renamed Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. The Taliban has tried to reassure people who remember how it governed more than 20 years ago when it prevented women from working, carried out public executions and floggings, and banned the internet. We want to build the future and forget what happened in the past, Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid told the New York Times. Sneak peeks of that future are starting to emerge 2 weeks after the Taliban takeover and just as the U.S. withdrawal of troops is set to occur on Tuesday, despite a deteriorating security situation in which scores have been killed. This is an article from a couple days ago, August 30th. Apparently, the Taliban protected Americans, though. Oh, we've got some craziness for you. Taliban cooperation included protecting Americans from possible terrorist attack at the airport. Not long before the U.S. finished its Afghanistan withdrawal, the Taliban stopped a bus headed to Kabul's airport, saying it might be rigged with bombs. Good guy, Taliban! Harbinger. Not a harbinger. Did I get it right that time? Thank you, sir. Less than 24 hours before the U.S. completed its withdrawal from Afghanistan, the Taliban stopped a bus headed for the Kabul airport and forced all the passengers off, saying the bus might be rigged with explosives and that it had 2 possible suicide attackers on board, according to the account of a U.S. citizen who was on the bus. U.S. citizen whose name NBC News is withholding for security reasons was on the bus with his 6 daughters Sunday when Taliban fighters stopped it at the Panjshir pumping station. I think I was close. Just outside the airport, 2 people familiar with the account said the Taliban told everyone to get off. The U.S. citizen and his daughters hid in a nearby drainage ditch until the Taliban gave them the all clear. The Taliban were absolutely instrumental, said a senior congressional aide familiar with the account. Without pulling that bus over, there could have been an attack at the airport that could have killed people, including Americans. I mean, I feel like the Taliban has every reason to expedite and help us and not attack us. They want to see us gone, so they have power. So, yeah. I don't. It's a mess. It's a fucking mess. And we've left them with a bunch of expensive equipment, but apparently none of it works. The Taliban captured lots of very expensive aircraft in Kabul. None of them work. This is according to Vice. America's longest war is over after 20 years following the final withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan. The departure of the last military flight on Monday was immediately followed by footage of well-equipped Taliban Special Forces units, known as the Badr 313 unit, examining billions of dollars worth of abandoned American and Afghan government military gear.
Oh. All right. We're here right now with the Taliban as they enter into what was only minutes ago, it was an American-controlled portion of the military airport.
Only minutes ago.
They're taking over.
Oh. It's extremely unlikely that the Taliban will be able to operate any of the U.S.-made aircraft, however, as U.S. troops would have had 2 weeks to make sure nothing left at the airport could ever be used again. The things captured at the other bases in Mazar and Kandahar, they fell before anyone could destroy them, said one former UK Special Forces soldier who fought in Afghanistan and returned as a contractor. But in Kabul, the Americans knew they'd be leaving and had plenty of time to make sure nothing ever worked again. They gave us an entire course on how to make sure abandoned gear can never be used again, and the American lads have the exact same course. If anything captured at Kabul ever flies again, I'd be truly shocked. Those aircraft will never fly again, said General Kenneth F. McKenzie Jr., head of the U.S. Central Command. He said that the U.S. had demilitarized 7 MRAPs, 27 Humvees, and 73 aircraft. They'll never be able to be operated by anyone. They logged out of their iCloud account before leaving. For 2 weeks, the Western military presence in Afghanistan has been restricted to parts of Kabul's airport during evacuation efforts, as Taliban fighters who stormed across the country in a matter of days took control in the capital. But after the last C-17 took flight, with the top-ranking American commander from the 82nd Airborne Division aboard, Taliban Special Forces units finally entered the airport. On Monday, footage emerged of a Taliban test flight of a U.S.-made Black Hawk helicopter, but the former soldier, who spoke on condition of anonymity due to operational security issues, said the Black Hawks captured around the country will eventually be grounded for lack of American-led maintenance and spare parts, but the M-17s could be flown indefinitely. So they are going to be able to operate some shit. How the Taliban will behave after the departure of Western troops from the capital remains impossible to predict. The last 2 weeks saw the group capture billions of dollars in American supplied equipment, ranging from equipment for individual soldiers to light ground attack aircraft. What's fucking new? What's fucking new? War rarely goes as planned. New report tallies trillions the U.S. spent in Afghanistan and Iraq. The U.S. government has never provided a full accounting of the cost of America's so-called forever wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, but researchers at Brown University estimate that the U.S. has spent $5.8 trillion on the war in Afghanistan and other conflicts stemming from the September 11th, 2001 attacks. That includes direct and indirect spending on everything from military equipment to homeland security to death gratuities for the families of slain American service members. The war in Afghanistan has cost $2.3 trillion so far, according to Wednesday's release from Brown University's Cost of War project. That does not include the massive airlift the Biden administration conducted to evacuate 123,000 people from Afghanistan before the final U.S. military forces left on Monday. Some costs, such as ongoing medical care for veterans, will continue even though the U.S. military presence in Afghanistan has ended. On Tuesday, President Joe Biden cited the Brown University's $2 trillion plus tally in a forceful defense of his decision to withdraw. He said that amounts to $300 million a day over 2 decades. The reason why we don't have universal higher education, universal health care, why we don't have roads, bridges, and locks that work. God damn. But I'm sure Greg Gutfeld on Fox News has a really good take on the subject, right? I just stuck this video in here so I can be like, I'm not high enough for Greg Gutfeld. I can smoke some more pot. That's all. This is a pot break video.
If we don't, we'll determine at the time who's left.
And
And if they're American forces, if there's American citizens left, we're going to stay till we get them all out.
First of all, I think it's irresponsible to say Americans are stranded. They are not.
There are no Americans stranded is the White House's official position on what's happening in Afghanistan right now.
I'm just calling you out for saying that we are stranding Americans in Afghanistan.
President Biden in the White House breaking repeated...
Wait, is this not Gutfeld? What?
Americans are out. And today, President Biden admitted people were...
I don't get the Gutfeld segment. Oh, shit, what?
Good evening, service members dead.
Well, shit. I got. I thought we were going to watch Greg Gutfeld. Why are you not showing me the video of it, Fox? I'm assuming he didn't write this somewhere. Gutfeld noted the Taliban could paralyze the country with videos of Americans being tortured and killed. Yeah, that's what I want to see, motherfuckers. Gutfeld? We've got a new one, I guess. Let's, No, I want the one from the show. We don't want the 5. Maybe he was on that clip that I had.
All right. So after this
let's do this
giant mess in Afghanistan, what's the response from the White House? Boy, did we screw up, but look how we fixed it. And talk about fixed. This is a mess so screwed up it will have reverberations for many years.
Well, yeah.
Which means the person responsible probably won't see the end results. But still, the White House will say, look at this humanitarian feat of strength. It's more impressive than Joe protecting us from corn.
I mean, they did evacuate, 128,000 people?
Plus people before the deadline the Taliban wanted. Yeah, Spirit Airline has nothing on us. It's a weird contrast. On one hand, we're evacuating thousands of Afghans. On the other, we say the Taliban's changed. So why is everyone fleeing if they changed? So do we have anything to fear from the Taliban other than their...
Because they were helping the American effort.
They're new and improved.
Like
and
they fear reprisal.
Sure, they just banned music and killed a folk singer. It's the terror version of Footloose. I guess the Taliban prefers their pleasing sounds to come from goats. So are things changing? Well, check out this anchorman reading the news. Their Taliban censors don't even bother to stand off camera. You can tell the anchor's really looking forward to a bright future under his new leaders. Here's a tip, buddy. Don't play any music. This ain't CNN where when you screw up, you get a vacation. Hey. But I'm not one to point fingers. Or am I?
Apparently his show has been doing pretty good.
The Fingers. Starring Fingers.
Oh, this is fucking atrocious.
Yes, it's time once again to point fingers. After all, that's why we have them. It's why humans are in charge instead of...
You're right, Greg. I've got a finger to point at you, sir.
It thins. People say, Greg, it's too soon for that. That's what they said about the premiere of this show, and I didn't listen. But if we weren't calling out this BS, then who will? And think of all the great finger pointers in history. Some of our greatest coaches pointed fingers. Those are coaches. So did every member of the Four Tops. Your mom at the aquarium. Look, a whale, a whale. Every doctor about to do a prostate exam. Even the image is arousing. And let's not forget everyone's favorite alien. That's right, he pointed a finger. And what of Uncle Sam? A great finger pointer. And of course, the greatest finger pointer of all, God. So back to this mess. You only deserve credit if you do a thorough job of cleaning it up. But if you left hundreds of Americans behind, you didn't clean it up. It's like how a guy cleans up after an all-night poker game. You threw out the beer bottles and the pizza boxes and say, you're good. Now, you still got to get all those stains out of the rug.
I'm sure he's speaking from experience. That was like him, right?
This is about American lives. And if you left them behind, you got to fix it. And maybe our government is and not telling us, fine. But consider the people in charge, the ones who have a history of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. No one's blaming the troops who don't make the
He's right on that one.
We're blaming the politicians who made decisions and then went on vacation.
That's a valid point.
Meanwhile, the White House and the media will redefine your outrage against Biden as directed against the military. If you're mad about the disastrous pullout, Joe pretends you're mad that we're ending a war. His entire speech was bait and switch. I love how he brags about the withdrawal while
no, that's you're upset we're ending the war. That's what it is. You make it about the fucking pullout. That's what you're hiding behind. No, you're upset we're getting out of the war.
So blaming Trump. So it's a success unless it's a failure, and then that's on Trump. No, the decision made.
Well, he's the one that negotiated with the Taliban, let the Afghan government out, which caused the Afghan government to collapse.
And we aren't pissed at the military, except for generals pushing wokeness while saying the Taliban has no chance.
We're not pissed at the military.
We're like a drunk hiker lost in the woods.
Except the ones that we are pissed at.
And put everyone at risk.
Because they don't have the same politics as us or some shit.
Make that many mistakes. It's like flipping a coin and getting heads 100 times in a row. How can you be that consistent? It's impossible for things to go wrong this perfectly unless it was baked into the plan. You abandon an airbase before evacuating Americans. You hand over a pile of weaponry to our...
Yes, I do believe that it was baked into the fucking plan. And like you're saying, handed over weaponry, but we just read the fucking article that like all the shit was done to the military standards to fucking deactivate it all. What the fuck? What? You just want something to bitch about, Gutfeld.
Armed than the NRA. You have the president telling us everything would be fine, knock on wood. Yeah, knock on wood. Only if you can find John Kerry's face.
Okay, that's funny.
Talk about a drastic escalation in the use of knock on wood. Usually I save that for hoping the cafeteria still has soup. Then you see Afghans falling from planes. But hey, that was 5 days ago, remember that? So 100 times shorter than...
Still a wild video. And that dude's like, hey, look at me!
When you're arrested or caught cheating on your spouse. Then we give a list of Americans to the Taliban. I'm still unsure what that means, but I doubt they're going to become pen pals.
The Taliban helped get Americans out because the Taliban was incentivized to end this.
Taliban, it matters when you then hear that they offered control of Kabul to Biden, who declined it. He probably thought, hell, I can't control my eyelids. How am I going to control an airport? So he wanted the Taliban to have more control of Afghanistan than the Taliban wanted. And then, as the caskets of our dead were unloaded from a plane at Dover Air Force Base, Joe Biden checked his watch. He took 36 hours to call back Boris Johnson, but suddenly he's in a hurry. Look, I won't point any fingers here, because if I were...
Wouldn't you take 36 hours to call back fucking Boris Johnson? God damn.
So are we.
Have you seen Boris Johnson? Period.
Yes.
Holy fuck. Fuck you, Gutfeld. Here's a man that does have a plan, though. He fucking solved it. David Huerta solved it. He decided that it's time to take care of the situation in Afghanistan. And by God, fucking David Huerta did it. I don't think this is real. I looked all over for this fucking article. I was really hoping David Huerta said some shit about Afghanistan, but I don't think he did. But thank you for the effort, sir. Oh, shit. Remember how I made fun of Ron Johnson last night? We made fun of Ron Johnson in the horse paste. We're going to make fun of Joe Rogan in the horse paste here in a little bit. But fucking Ron Johnson finally said something intelligent. Got to find the link to the video here in the story. U.S. Senator Ron Johnson recently said there's nothing obviously skewed about the results of the 2020 presidential election. Oh, here we go. This is Lauren Windsor. She was posing as a Project Veritas, which we have like Project Veritas's newest video. We got that for the end. She was posing as like a Project Veritas type of reporter, and she's gone up to Ron Johnson. I think this was over the weekend.
You know that Joe Biden didn't win this election. I mean, in my heart of hearts.
So that's her acting like she's a dumb fuck right winger.
I just.
Well, so
he didn't win.
Do you know the? Do you
think that Joe Biden won this election?
Do you know the in Wisconsin? Do you know the vote totals?
I don't know.
So without knowing the vote totals, you can't even state that opinion.
I just really need all the small chatter.
No. So let me give you the vote totals.
I know that there was a late night dump in Milwaukee, a vote dump. I don't remember exactly what the numbers were.
Well, we've done a recount in Milwaukee. Prior to this election.
Brought up the fucking dump, the thing the dude on YouTube got onto me about. Was like, oh, there was a vote dump in the middle of the night. No, Ron Johnson shoots that shit down.
I was the #1 vote getter statewide with just under 1.5 million votes, okay? This election, Trump got 1,610,000. No Republican had ever cracked 1.5 million.
He said no.
Numerous Democrats have gone over 1.6 and 1.5. So now for the first time in history, we have a presidential candidate beating my vote total by 130,000 votes. Collectively, the state assembly candidates and so just Republican state assembly candidates got 1,661,000. The 8 congressional candidates also got 1,661,000. So we obviously counted enough Republican votes. The only reason Trump lost Wisconsin is 51,000 Republican voters didn't vote for him. They voted for other Republican candidates.
They probably voted for Biden.
Because I don't see it. I don't believe it.
Well, look at the totals. It's certainly plausible. There's nothing obviously skewed about the results. There isn't.
There's nothing skewed about the results.
About the results in Wisconsin. Now, I'm not saying what's happening in Maricopa County. I don't know. Saying look at the number again.
Oh, there's the cover his ass with his crazy ass reporter. Well, I don't know what's going on in Maricopa County.
So listen. Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes. 51,000 more votes than Trump got. Trump lost by 20,000. If Trump got all the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates, he would have won. He didn't get 51,000 votes that other Republicans got. That's why he lost.
Simple fucking math. Simple. Maybe Ron Johnson isn't a dumb motherfucker, which, makes him a sociopath. Or a psychopath, even. So, Johnson told a liberal activist posing as a conservative that former President Donald Trump lost the election in Wisconsin because he didn't do as well as other Wisconsin Republicans on the ballot in November. Duh! Because he's not popular. Johnson made the comments to Lauren Windsor, who posed as a conservative, when speaking to Johnson. Windsor is executive producer of the liberal political web show The Undercurrent, and also runs Project Veritas Exposed, an effort to unveil the work of Project Veritas, a conservative organization that has secretly recorded Democrats and liberals. Windsor is also affiliated with Democracy Partners, a group consisting of professionals with backgrounds in Democratic Party politics. Johnson said she was secretly recording him, though it was unclear from the video whether she was doing so or holding up a camera phone. Maybe he's not as dumb as I thought he was. Sidney Powell, however, who is going to deny that the election was fair, she is as dumb as I thought she was. This is the special was called Fox and the Big Lie. I had watched part 1. I went to go watch part 2, and they hadn't done it yet. So I watched this like last weekend. It had just dropped or some shit. So like part 2 came out August 30th. This is where Sidney Powell runs away from the interview. She's got a very cute puppy.
Sure. Oh, yeah. He's a big ear.
By the Australian Broadcasting Company.
Let's get a few simple facts straight. In how many states were Smartmatic machines and software?
Now, the reporter has already spoken with Smartmatic's lawyer and has all the fucking facts laid out.
Used in the 2020 election.
I don't even know the exact numbers.
But you were making some big statements, very dramatic, critical statements about Smartmatic. You must have known what their involvement was in the election?
Oh, you'd have to go look at our complaint with respect to the 4 states that we filed legal complaints in to get the details of that.
A Google search would have shown you that Smartmatic was operating in one single county in California.
Well, I'm saying I think their involvement's probably a lot bigger than that.
What research or fact-checking did you do at the time to find out what Smartmatic's actual involvement in the election was?
Do you work for Smartmatic?
You've made an allegation against Smartmatic that they stole a presidential election. I think it's incumbent on both of us to know what Smartmatic's involvement was. It seems like a pretty foundational fact.
I mean, I'm confused right now about why you're here.
I'm confused by why you wouldn't have the answer to her question.
Against Smartmatic and against Dominion, containing many...
If the claims you made were true, because you're full of shit.
Now that the company that you accused of stealing a national election only operated in one county, in LA, in California. One county, one state.
No, I'm not prepared to accept that fact. I think Smartmatic's involvement was far more significant than that. Do I think they're trying to minimize their involvement? Of course.
She hasn't even learned her lesson. Like, this was just like, it had to have been taped like a week or 2 ago or some shit. Like, this is recent. She is being sued. We're involved in billions of dollars in litigation at this very time that she's given this interview. And she hasn't learned her lesson that she can't just make up bullshit.
Of course I do.
You said that Smartmatic owns Dominion. How do you justify such a basic factual error?
I'm going to stop this interview.
I bet you are.
Appropriate in the litigation that we're in.
But we're not even in the area of great dispute. These are the simple facts of who owns what.
No, we're done. I'm sorry.
These are facts.
When we are in litigation against me personally...
because you made up bullshit.
Yes, I understand that these are very serious allegations.
Thank you very much.
But these are also very basic facts that we're dealing with.
Camera off. We're done.
After some discussion, Ms.
It sounds like she's saying, like, I can't admit that I'm lying to you on camera because it's going to look bad on me in court.
Her legal issues prevented her from talking about the voting machine companies. All of the organizations who had the responsibility to check the nature of...
apparently that the Lauren woman is really good. I don't know if she would appreciate the liberal
That's the propaganda they're putting out.
label.
I disagree with that completely, and we have and will produce additional evidence that shows otherwise.
What you're describing is a massive countrywide fraud involving the FBI, the DOJ, the Department of Homeland Security.
Okay, this might be wrong of me, but like, how does she get her hair to look like that? Not saying that it looks bad or anything, but like, is it like cowlicks in her hair? Because back when I had hair here, I had cowlicks. Like, but like, it's like a wild, like, do you go and get your hair styled like that? This is like this weaving in and out here is tripping me out.
Organizations who certify elections and on, all the way up to the Attorney General and thousands of local election officials. Are you saying that thousands of Americans participated in a fraud?
I am saying that thousands of Americans had some role in it, knowingly or unknowingly. It was essentially a coup where they took over the presidency of the United States without a single shot being fired.
Who's they in that sentence?
I don't know who all that they are. I would really like to know the answer to that. But it's a significant number of they. And they knew...
It's a boogeyman that you have in your fucking head that you made up.
No accident.
Do you ever hear yourself and think that it sounds ridiculous?
No, I know myself very well. I've been in me a long time. I know my reputation. I know my level of integrity.
Good evening.
Did you say I've been in me?
I am saying that thousands of Americans had some role in it, knowingly or unknowingly. It was essentially a bloodless coup where they took over...
No. Do you ever hear yourself and think you sound ridiculous, or however she put it? That was the journalistic way of politely saying right-wingers are morons. But
of the United States without a single shot being fired.
Who's they in that sentence?
I don't know who all that they are. I would really like to know the answer to that. But it's a significant number of they.
Well, I want to know what love is.
Doing, and they planned it for at least 3 years. This was no accident.
Do you ever hear yourself and think that it sounds ridiculous?
No, I know myself very well. I've been in me a long time. I know my reputation. I know my level of integrity.
Welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight.
Some anchors at Fox didn't buy into the big lie.
You ever hear yourself and think you sound ridiculous? No, I know me. I've been in me.
Of the United States without a single shot being
I hear it again.
Who's they in that sentence?
I don't know who all that they are. I would really like to know the answer to that. But it's a significant number of they. And they knew exactly what they were doing, and they planned it for at least 3 years. This was no accident.
Do you ever hear yourself and think that it sounds ridiculous?
No, I know myself very well. I've been in me a long time. I know my reputation. I know my level of integrity.
Good evening.
I know my level of integrity, and then they cut to a shot of her behind Rudy Giuliani.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
I do. That was fantastic. I'm not going to be able to get enough of that. The office of Speaker Nancy Pelosi slammed House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy's silence over comments made last weekend by Representative Madison Cawthorn. We played the video last night about the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Like he has several times this year, Minority Leader McCarthy is refusing to take action against a member of his conference who is calling for violence, a statement by Pelosi's press office said. McCarthy backed Representative Taylor Greene after she threatened to execute members of Congress. He sat on his hands as his members and allies threatened the lives of police officers who responded to January's insurrection. McCarthy himself even joked about hitting Speaker Pelosi with the gavel, Pelosi said in a statement. Now, McCarthy is refusing to confront one of his members for calling for bloodshed on behalf of the insurrectionists many House Republicans consider to be political prisoners. A statement by the Speaker's office comes after Cawthorn at an event last weekend described the January 6 rioters currently held in law enforcement custody as political hostages and political prisoners, and it raised the threat of violence if people continue to believe that elections are stolen. Anyone who believes that the election was stolen is a fucking moron. Absolute fucking moron. It's bullshit. Completely disproven. Even Republicans as hardcore as Ron Johnson will lay the math out for you and tell you you're fucking stupid. Representative Adam Kinzinger, who is not going to be a representative after this next cycle, I assure you. This is insane, based on a total lie. This must stop. I agree. Cawthorn responded to Pelosi Wednesday, saying that the Speaker mischaracterized his comments. Speaker Pelosi took advantage of a left-wing media hit job. It was such a media hit job that the video that the Republican Party, the county Republican Party streamed on their Facebook, they took down. Are you telling me it was a hit job? Or were you just fucking careless with what you said? Are you a secret fucking fascist? Speaker Pelosi took advantage of a left-wing media hit job and lied about my words for her gross political agenda. Gross political agenda! She dangerously and deliberately chose to mischaracterize my comments as violent speech when I clearly called for violence not to occur. Luke Ball, a spokesman for Cawthorn, stressed that the bloodshed comment was intended as a call to restore integrity in elections, and that the congressman strongly states that election integrity issues should be resolved peacefully and never through violence. We just read your comments as what they were, and you're upset about it. You took my violent rhetoric as violent, and I didn't mean it as violent. That's what he's trying to say. Holy fuck. Meanwhile, AOC ripping into Rahm Emanuel's ambassador nomination as shameful. I wasn't expecting this, honestly, because of all the things that Rahm Emanuel could be, and ambassadors like get him the fuck out of our hair, we don't even have to worry about him, give him something that where he gets to go and be on vacation somewhere in a nice place. That's the way I always saw ambassadorships. Like, they're just token positions for people that have been loyal to the party. So I'm kind of surprised AOC is spending political capital on this. In a scathing statement on Wednesday, Democratic Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York put the Biden administration on notice over the nomination of Rahm Emanuel for the U.S. ambassadorship in Japan. This nomination is deeply shameful, AOC said in a statement. As mayor of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel helped cover up the murder of Laquan McDonald, a mere teenager, when he was shot 16 times in the back by a Chicago police officer. Hell yeah, AOC. That's a very good question, Winter. It sounded oddly sexual. I bet she's the kind of person that fucks ghosts, or thinks they fuck ghosts. That woman thinks she's married to Michael Jackson's ghost. But fuck yeah, AOC. Emanuel served as former President Barack Obama's first White House chief of staff before becoming mayor of Chicago in 2011. In 2015, Emanuel was implicated in an alleged cover-up of the police shooting of McDonald. I think I said McDonald earlier. I'm sorry. After video revealed that the police department's initial story was untrue. I say it every chance I get. The police lie even when they don't have to lie. So be expecting them to lie when they're covering up their own fucking bullshit. McDonald was walking away when he was shot by a Chicago police officer who fired a barrage of 16 shots that continued even after he collapsed. The officer was convicted of murdering him and is serving a nearly 7-year sentence. Oh, hell yeah on that. Speaking of police brutality, when they were doing the protest for the Line 3, I guess this is Unicorn Riot, was interviewing this protester, and he brought up a very valid point about
If Joe Biden is serious about the climate crisis, then why is he allowing these corporations to come in and
the LA Sheriff's Department
and break treaties, right? And so I'm fortunate that you're out here and people are out here spreading what the fuck's actually going on. All cops are bastards, and
yeah.
Google LASD gangs. Everyone, have you Googled LASD gangs yet? You've seen that, right? Yes. That's some crazy shit. You did. I don't know if you watched the Gravel Institute video that came out.
I watched that video. It was very well done.
It's worth 18 minutes of your time. I know you're hella busy, so whenever you get around to it. But that shit is real in Los Angeles. We have gangs in the sheriff's department that to get initiated into, you have to kill or shoot someone to get initiated into the gang. But not only do they do that, the East LA Sheriff's Department has a deputy gang called the Banditos. The Banditos, you know, they kill a lot of people, but one story that should be highlighted, they killed a 20-year-old named Anthony Vargas. These two deputies shot him for gang initiation. And not only do they kill for gang initiation, those same deputies and gang members harass the family of Anthony Vargas in East Los Angeles. They show up at their house, they follow them in their cars, they assault them. And so just for people to conceptualize, I don't know how many people are watching, but there are gangs in our sheriff's department. And then those gangs go and harass the families of people that they've killed. So that's what's going on in Los Angeles, and you know the struggle is worldwide, countrywide, and you know that's why I'm out here. And you know this is
fuck yeah, because he's in Minnesota. Where thankfully we might actually get some accountability for the cops involved in Elijah McClain's death. Grand jury returns 32-count indictment against the officers and paramedics involved in McClain's death. 4 employees still with the Aurora Police Department immediately and indefinitely suspended without pay. The 3 officers involved in the incident that preceded McClain's death, Nathan Woodyard, Jason Rosenblatt, and Randy Rodema, as well as Aurora Fire Rescue paramedics Jeremy Cooper and Peter Shimanikek. I'm sorry I fucked your name up. Peter Shimanek each face the counts of manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. Rodema and Rosenblatt each face another second-degree assault with intent to cause serious bodily injury. A charge of 1 count of a crime of violence connected to the assault charge. Very weirdly worded. 2 paramedics also face 3 counts of second-degree assault. 1 for the intent to cause body... Goddamn. They're charged with assault and manslaughter. 4 of the 5 men charged turned themselves in to Glendale police on Wednesday afternoon. Court records show they had a $10,000 bond. Only a $10,000 bond set? God damn. Rodema had not turned himself in as of 5:30 p.m. according to court records. Aurora City Manager Jim Twombly said that Woodyard and Rodema, the 2 officers still employed by the department, and the 2 paramedics have been immediately and indefinitely suspended without pay in accordance with the city charter. So they've been working all this time. This was like 2 fucking years ago. This effectively separates the employee from the city of Aurora pending the outcome of the criminal case. The city of Aurora said in a statement immediately following the announcement that its leaders respect the judicial process, irrespective of the outcome. Aurora Police Chief Vanessa Wilson said she knew this decision had been a long time coming for the McClain family. This tragedy will forever be imprinted in our community. We continue to offer our condolences for the loss of Elijah, and we will continue to cooperate with the judicial process. That's the police chief of Aurora. Content warning, you're not going to like the police association's response. This happened, McClain's death happened on August 24th, 2019. 2 years ago. Oh no, did they remove the I checked this article to make sure it had the Law Enforcement Association's comments, because it's just like, it's sickening. Like, we did nothing wrong. We're the victims. Damn it. Because I saw it on, you know, a fucking... Okay. I skipped over it. How'd I just see it? Now I don't see it. God damn it. What the fuck? The Aurora Police Association Board of Directors said in a statement after the indictment was announced, our officers did nothing wrong. There is no evidence that ADP officers caused his death. Oh man, I'm like, damn it, I wish it had linked to it. Let me see if I can look this up, because like the fucking whole statement is disgusting. Got some news on here. What? Man, nobody has the full statement. Fuck. Because I saw it on like a, you know, anti-police site on Facebook. And it had the fucking full statement. Sorry, that's what happens when I don't actually read and put everything together before I do the show. I'm unprepared, unprofessional. Jacob Blake, who was shot in the back, gave an interview.
The first time the gun went off, it didn't really register what happened. I thought it was another taser.
An ABC News exclusive today. Jacob Blake, in his first interview since he was shot and partially paralyzed by a police officer in August. Since then, Kenosha County's district attorney has announced that the officers involved will not be charged. Ravi Bajwal has Blake's side of
fuck that shit.
His own words with Good Morning America's Michael Strahan.
I resisted to getting beat on, and what I mean by that is not falling, not letting them put their head on my neck.
This morning, Jacob Blake speaking to Good Morning America's Michael Strahan, almost 5 months after being shot by police 7 times. Blake, now partially paralyzed, is using a wheelchair. He says he thought he would die.
I was counting down my breaths.
It's amazing you didn't, dude.
Like, God, I'm coming.
All unfolding as his sons watched from the back seat of that car, seen in the video shown around the world.
I was like, he's shooting me. I couldn't believe it, so I kind of sat down in the car, put my hands up, because I didn't want him to shoot me in my face or in my head or nothing. He just kept shooting,
It was August 23rd of last year, and Blake was at the house of LaQuisha Booker, the mother of 3 of his children, celebrating their son Israel's 8th birthday. An argument broke out between Booker and a neighbor.
Tears was coming out of his eyes. He said, "Daddy, you sure it's my birthday?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know." I was like, I'm taking him to the store again, make him forget about all this.
As Blake prepares to leave, Booker calls police who respond to what they call family trouble, knowing there's a felony warrant for Blake on domestic violence offenses and sexual assault. Blake walks out to put one of his sons in the car, and that's when he says he felt someone grab his arm.
Before the cop grabbed you, did they say anything to you?
No, not at all.
According to the Wisconsin Criminal Investigation Report, Officer Shesky, who shot Blake, recalled saying, "Let's talk about this." He said Blake put his child in the car and turned to face him. Shesky said he then grabs Blake's arm to put him under arrest and told Blake that he had a warrant. A struggle soon starts. Police think Blake is reaching for a weapon. He's tasered, and he ends up on the ground with the officer.
I'm rattled. You know, I realized I had dropped my knife. I had a little pocket knife. So I picked it up after I got off of him because they tased me and I fell on top of him.
Open knife in hand, Blake walks towards the driver's side door. He says, ready to surrender.
Throw myself to the ground and, you know, put my arms behind my back.
According to the criminal investigative report, Officer Shesky says that
Officer Shesky
Shesky's body. Blake denies this, citing the video.
There are going to be a lot of people who look at the video and say, in the video, you're walking away from the police. So why didn't he just stop and do what the police are asking him to do?
I couldn't hear that. All I heard was screaming. My ears was ringing.
According to the Wisconsin Criminal Investigation,
Andy Griffith's hairstyle. Floyd? He's using Floyd the barber?
Arrest. These charges were dropped. Blake says he has talked to his kids since that day.
I've explained to him and broke it down to him, like, Daddy can die, but...
Yeah, and it's fucking sad that his kids had to see that.
The district attorney announcing that none of those Kenosha police officers involved in the incident will be facing
insane.
Nor will Blake. The Department of Justice has an open civil rights investigation here, and the Blake family has also indicated they plan to file suit.
Sue the shit out of them. Sue the fucking shit out of them. Seven black men were exonerated. I'm sorry, fucking. They have been pardoned now, but 7 black men were executed for an alleged rape in 1951. Decades later, they've now been pardoned. A group of young black men executed after being convicted by all-white juries of allegedly raping a white woman have been pardoned in Virginia 70 years after their deaths. On Tuesday, Governor Ralph Northam granted posthumous pardons to the Martinsville 7. While these pardons do not address the guilt of the 7, they serve as recognition from the Commonwealth that these men were tried without adequate due process and received a racially biased death sentence not similarly applied to white defendants. We all deserve a criminal justice system that is fair, equal, and gets it right, no matter who you are or what you look like. I'm grateful to the advocates and families of the Martinsville 7 for their dedication and perseverance. Family members of the 7 men said their relatives were interrogated under duress without the presence of a lawyer, and their confessions were coerced under threat of mob violence, which sounds about right. Sounds about white. Martinsville 7 were convicted of raping 32-year-old Ruby Strode Floyd, who had gone to a predominantly black neighborhood in Martinsville, Virginia on January the 8th, 1949, to collect money for clothes she had sold. 4 of the men were executed in Virginia's electric chair on February the 2nd, 1951. 3 days later, the remaining 3 were also executed. At the time, rape was a capital offense. Northam was joined by descendants of the men on Tuesday, where he ceremonially signed pardons. Since last year, the Martinsville 7 coalition, including family members and community advocates, have been pushing for the posthumous pardon, according to CNN affiliate WWBT. Meanwhile, Minneapolis is just 1 vote away from dismantling the police. If citizens vote yes, the Minneapolis Police Department will be disbanded and replaced with a Department of Public Safety, which sounds appropriate. A year and a half after the murder of George Floyd at the hands of police, Minneapolis residents will soon vote on the city's boldest attempt at reform yet, dismantling the police department and replacing it with a new agency called the Department of Public Safety. Earlier this month, the Minneapolis City Council approved the addition of a question to the ballot this November, asking voters if they'd be in favor of amending the city's charter and replacing the Minneapolis Police Department outright. Voters will be asked to simply answer yes or no. Residents vote to amend the city charter. The new Department of Public Safety would create an integrated system of trained medical and mental health crisis professionals and social workers as first responders alongside police and fire personnel. The change would also remove language in the current charter that mandates a minimum number of police employees and place the new Department of Public Safety under control of the city's 13-person city council rather than the mayor and the police chief. Sounds like a win to me. Should a majority of voters vote yes in November, it could mark the first major public safety shift of its kind in the country. Definitely be keeping an eye on that one. As I said, it is back to school time in the U.S., so therefore we have a school shooting. It's only they've been back like a week now, 2 weeks in some places. Kind of surprised it took this long. Alleged gunman who killed student at Mount Tabor High School is apprehended after an hours-long search.
Thank you so much, Leanne. There's so much to unpack with all of this, Kim. You know, you have the school, of course, where all of this unfolded. Then parents frustrated, anxious.
This is close to Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Where they fall.
I guess in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Of course, who are just, I'm sure, traumatized by all of this, and the law enforcement presence too as well being so heavy, and it's such an emotional day across the board for them too as well.
It certainly is, and they held a news conference this afternoon at 4:30. The Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools, the police department, as well as the Forsyth County Sheriff's Department, and we're going to
give us the rundown. We're just tuning in.
Rachel.
Yeah, good evening. We just learned moments ago.
I don't think it's a good evening for many of those parents.
I'm going to read a tweet that the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office shared just minutes ago. It says the suspect from the shooting at Mount Tabor High School was taken into custody without incident. The investigation is ongoing, and we will release more information as appropriate. Our continued prayers to the family and loved ones, of William Chavis Raynard Miller Jr. Are in their thoughts right now, and we did learn from the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office that more information will be released later on about that suspect. But of course, like you all mentioned earlier, the focal point here, of course, still on the victim and his family tonight as they grieve the loss of their son and just experience the unimaginable this evening. Now, we heard from several members.
Now, if it has been a trend that crime has been ticking up, and we've kind of said that the pandemic has affected people's mental health and they've been cooped up, is this what we're going to have to expect, that it's going to be an uptick in school shootings as well moving forward? Oh, what am I talking about? There's not going to be schools in session. Like, all of them are shutting down because they're having COVID outbreaks.
Winston-Salem Police Chief Katrina Thompson about, which is kind of what she had to say earlier this afternoon, and this is what she said.
One student was located with a gunshot wound.
Why is it like this white guy shaking his head like, yeah?
Responders began life-saving measures, and the injured student was transported to Wake Forest University Baptist Medical Center, where he succumbed to his injuries.
That moment when we learned that the victim had died, again, just tears across the room. You could hear the emotion coming out of Thompson this afternoon. Now, Sheriff Kimbrough also sharing that emotional message similar to Thompson this evening. Like I mentioned, like pointing out in that tweet earlier, the focus really is on this family and this ongoing investigation. Of course, now that we know that suspect is in custody, there is still a lot more to be done here. How exactly did something like this happen inside a school building? It's something that these law enforcement...
How exactly does this happen? No way to know, says country, where it's the only place where it's a regular occurrence, you know? No way to prevent this. It's a fucking Onion headline. No way to prevent this. It's the only country where this regularly occurs. How did it happen? I don't know. It's just a normal day in America. I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny. This is not a laughing matter. I don't find school shootings funny. I'm also kind of upset about Lady Gaga's dog walker. I know that's a weird transition off of the school shooting. I thought it made sense when I was laying out the show. Lady Gaga's dog walker, Ryan, feels abandoned and is begging for donations. And like, what the fuck? If you got shot walking Lady Gaga's dog, she got plenty of fucking money. Why is Lady Gaga making you have to fucking beg for money? Fuck. Lady Gaga's hero dog walker, who was shot protecting her beloved pooches, says he now feels abandoned and unsupported. Fisher started his trip soon after leaving Los Angeles Hospital. The former dog walker had to undergo surgery after getting... I'm sure the fucking medical bills are insane, but I can't imagine that, like, she could totally cover that. I'm positive. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she's not been good with her money. Maybe she like Michael Jackson. She just goes everywhere and buys everything. His fundraiser included a video showing him in a hospital bed as well as images of his bullet wounds. He recently said goodbye to Trudy, a quasi-reliable 1991 Ford Falcon rental. The cash was go to get him a new van. Like, while Fisher did not name Gaga, many followers tagged the 35-year-old singer and longtime friend of Fisher. Why won't Lady Gaga help you out? One follower asked, which is, yeah. He was willing to provide $500,000 for the safe return of her dog, so I'd think that giving you $40,000 would be a drop in the bucket. If I was a rich celebrity and I had a dog walker get shot, I would give them $500,000. If I was Lady... I assume Lady Gaga has that kind of money. She has that kind of record deal. She has those kinds of song credits. Other people pointing out, wow, this is shocking. Why had Lady Gaga not helped you out? Reps for the star did not immediately respond to Page 6 request for comment. If she wasn't going to do it anyway, which I would hope she would, because, like, I like Lady Gaga. I don't want to find out she's a dick. If she wasn't going to do